Alright, we've got the 4 vertical beams all cut. Right now you see them positioned in place, and there's wood supports underneath the beam right now to make sure that it's all level and get everything correct. But now I'm going to remove that wood underneath there, and I'm going to put these lag bolts, these 1/4-inch lag bolts, up into there. I'm going to put adhesive on the bottom of them. We're going to put the lag bolts up through first and secure the bottoms, and then we'll do the tops. Okay, we have the lag screws now placed up just short, almost all the way through the lower beam, fixed in place. We've got the lines drawn right here, you can see all the way along as to where they'll be placed. Now the next step is to put the 3X adhesive, Loctite Premium PL3X adhesive on the bottoms of on the top of the beams where the vertical trusses go. Position them into place, tighten the lag bolts, and then after that we'll tighten them down. Of course, we'll put more adhesive right here between the vertical truss and the upper beam.
What up?
I'm going to lift it up, just kind of watch it. Okay, so we have now put the adhesive on the bottom and on the top of each of these. We've loosened up the top so that we can move it, and now we've got everything secured in place in between the lines. We'll go back and check and make sure that everything is properly positioned in the lines, and then we can start putting in the lag bolts. Okay, so we're almost done with the placement of the vertical truss beams. So we've got the first one and the second truss in, secured. We've ready to put the third one. We've drilled with the Forstner bit. We've drilled out this hole for the 1-inch circle for the screw for the washer, for the 1-inch washer to fit into. And now we'll use the drill with this nut head to screw it in. We've used this zip bit, 5/16" zip bit, to drive it all the way through, and then when we're done we'll finish it up with the wrench. As you can see here, these bolts are 6 inches now. Actually, above the head they're only about, in terms of what really goes in, it's more like about 5 3/4 is what actually goes in to the wood. This view right here shows the end of the table just about assembled. So this morning I went ahead and fixed these 2 pieces in using the 3X Premium adhesive polyurethane on both the upper ends. Then I glued this board in the end upper joist and screwed it down to the upper beam. And I've got the 3X Premium Loctite adhesive throughout everything here, and I also have the adhesive on the end apron as well. Now I'm just in the process of putting through the screws onto the end apron. I've got the east end of the table all done now. I've got screws placed in all along here. I still have to cut off these ends, but I've got 5 screws at each end in the legs, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 in the middle, and then I've got 2 right here that are going into the upper beam. There was a gap in the upper beam. Somehow or another it was cut off a little bit too short, and so I had to cut off about an 1/8 inch shim and put that in there and glued that in. But other than that, it's all done. I had a lot of braces bracing it from the top, holding the top down, braces holding the upper joists to the end apron, and going widthwise, holding the apron and the leg and the upper joists all in tight. But they're all in now, so I'm about ready, I think, to go ahead and start scraping off some of this 3X premium polyurethane Loctite adhesive that I use for everything on this end, to hold these 2 upper leg covers in, to put the apron on, to put the upper joists on. I went to that. So here, this is the northeast corner. I've got the leg cover all glued in down several days ago. Same thing down here on the southeast corner. But there's a sizable gap in there. I don't want that gap to get any moisture, collect moisture and dirt and stuff down there, and that would eventually rot that out. So I'm going to put some of the 3X Loctite polyurethane adhesive in there. So I put the adhesive in, and there was still a big gap in there. You're going to try to put quite a bit in, so I started putting some of this redwood shim that I had left, thin stuff. I just started breaking that off and pushing that in there. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. It looks pretty ugly right now, but when that's all dried, I can just cut it off and sand it down. This shows the board that I picked to use for the end apron. It's been cut down to the right width. It was hard to find boards that were free of the rotted out areas where the nails had been. But this looks, I'm going to go ahead and use this, and I'm going to try to carve this out with a drill and a knife, and fill it with adhesive, and hope that that'll do it. But I'm going to put this up on the end, believe it or not. This will be the part facing the top of the table and on the inside, so that way it's kind of protected rather than having it on the exterior. I decided to try to find another board for the end apron, so I've got one here that kind of fits in between where the nails are. Looks like it might work, so I'm going to try that. I decided that this board was too bad to work with. It wasn't worth the effort, so I went ahead and found something that's reasonable, and I cut myself another apron, and this bad part would be on the bottom, but it's looking pretty good on the top, so we'll use this as my end apron. This is Debbie applying it onto the surface of the leg. Well, this is the last screw that I'm putting in, and I think I'm putting it in a little bit crooked. It's intended to come in and secure this end into the leg, and this is the long or longitudinal north apron, and this is the west end apron, and so I'm just gluing it in. This is the last screw that I'm putting in, and I think I put it on a little bit too crooked, but it'll be okay. Well, we've got the last screw in. I pretty much have cleaned up the tools. Just got to put the cover on them. And then tomorrow we're going to flip this guy over on its side and work on the bottom beam, clean things up a little bit. We've got the apron entirely installed. We've got all the upper joists entirely installed. We've got everything done on the frame except for the angled trusses that go to the two trusses in this area and two trusses in this gap, and then we're all ready to go for the top. Smooth it off and put down the tabletop. But we'll move this guy over, work on the bottom beam, and also then we can remove the remaining boards that are down under here, and pull them out, and then we'll put it upright again. We'll use some of the treated lumber that's underneath there that's been acting as the base of the platform. We'll put that in here, glue it in, screw it down, and that'll actually be really sturdy then as an upper beam.